The Washington NFL franchise announced on Monday it is dropping the Redskins name and Indian head logo, bowing to recent pressure from sponsors and decades of criticism that they are offensive to Native Americans. A new name must still be selected for one of the oldest and most storied teams in the National Football League, and it's unclear as to how soon that will happen. Joining us from Charlotte, North Carolina to talk more about this is Roger Green. Roger, this will be the NFL's first name change since the late 1990s, when the Tennessee Oilers became the Titans 2 seasons after moving from Houston. We found ourselves in yet another space of unique change here.
Absolutely, Nietzsche. This change is a whole lot different than the Tennessee Titans, formerly Houston Oilers teams, because that one was just more of a geographic change. Since the Oilers were in Texas, when they moved to Nashville, they thought that the Titans were just a little more sensitive to geographics, not necessarily culture and race and the dynamic of social justice. So this is one that is far-reaching, something that has been in the looms for several years, and I'm so glad that they have finally reached an opportunity to change it.
Roger, Donald Trump last week criticized the Redskins and Major League Baseball's Cleveland Indians for considering name changes. What are your thoughts?
I wish this president would watch what he says. He has a tendency to speak when he is misinformed. He has a tendency to also speak on issues that I don't even think a president should even be thinking about, with coronavirus and the economy and unemployment at the pace that it is. Why are you talking about the Redskins name? I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's very interesting here. What we are seeing, though, Roger, in the midst of, civil unrest and reckoning and change, is that many things are changing. We were seeing things within grocery stores, certain products that were changing. We are seeing things painted on the streets now that have certain representation. We are seeing changes within large companies, and to now see change within the sports arena as far as how something is named. This could also be the case for other sports leagues and other sports teams. What are your thoughts as to the direction of changes across the board as far as sports are concerned?
Well, I think in sports and or any business aspect, Nietzsche, often social reform and change often starts in the pocketbook before it starts in the heart. So often, we think it would start in the humanity of a person to wanting to change, but often it's economics, such as it was with slavery. It was not a moral issue necessarily, as much as it was an economic issue. When that pocket gets hit and when sponsors start to threaten to pull out, like Nike and Bank of America and such big conglomerates, then you have change. So I'm all for it. I applaud these Fortune 500 companies for applying pressure and for invoking change in a time and a season that we need it the most.
Yeah, because certainly it's been understood that there has been a conversation about the names being offensive in the past. Native leaders and organizations have written to the NFL commissioner, and as recently as last week, and requested an immediate end to the use of the name. The other thing that's important to note here, Roger, is that FedEx earlier this month became the first sponsor to announce that it had asked the organization to change the name. And what's particularly important is because their CEO, Frederick Smith, owns part of the team. So a lot of interesting things going on here. And as you mentioned, when it hits the pocketbook, Roger, I always appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's always a pleasure talking with you, Nietzsche.